Welcome back. It is still Morning Express, the weekend edition on ADBN TV. Well, you can watch the full video of that Nigeria at 65 and the major gains of Nationhood on our YouTube page, ADBN TV. Just search for it and you will find the full video of those interactions, the documentary of Nigeria's journey to independence. And of course, how far it has been for the country at 65 years. And so the discussion today still revolves around Nigeria at 65. Our independence journey, the anniversaries we've been having, what are the gains the nation has made over the years? Or if there has been gains, and what are the challenges the country or the stumble blocks the country would have had over the years, and all that will be captured in our discussion today. As we have guests joining us virtually from different parts of the country. We have joining us from Lagos, Mr. Moses Duro Saro, joining us from Lagos, and would also have joining us virtually from Delta, Mr. Olisa Ifea Jika. And also we'll have from Edo joining us, Barrister Alio Adams. And all of this, we'll be talking about Nigeria. Welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Welcome to the program, gentlemen. Let us head straight to Edo State and begin with Mr. Barrister Alio. Barrister Alio, of course, looking at you, you're elderly, you would have a lot of history to tell. Let us look at this 65-year journey of Nigeria. Nigeria's nationhood. I'd like to ask you, coming from where we are to where we are now, would you say that we're on the path to greatness? Let's begin from there.
Well, based on what it was, the status quo antebellum as at October 1st, 1960, we can say we have tried, but it is not yet Uhuru. We have not reached the promised land because the labors of our heroes past, where everything was running smoothly, one could pick a job anywhere in the country before and after independence. Joblessness was not there. Security menace, now insecurity was not there. The founding fathers labored and they can count their blessings. Our present leaders too are following the footpaths, but some of them are egocentric and it is not yet Uhuru. We have not reached the promised land. There is still much room for improvements so that we can sleep with our two eyes closed, so that freedom of movement as enshrined in section 42 of the 1999 Constitution will be there for everybody to see and utilize. Section 14, sub 2 of 1999 Constitution talks about security and welfare. The security is not guaranteed nowadays. The welfare in terms of education, health, agriculture, rural development, employment, they are still at mediocre stages. So 65 years, we are calling on our leaders, vis-a-vis our followers, to know that there's too much work to be done. It's not yet Uhuru. Nigeria is not yet an El Dorado. We can reach the promised land if we are willing.
Okay, and I would like to pose the same question to man joining us from Lagos, Mr. Moses Duro Saro. If you're in the industrial hub of the country, and all these years, we would like to get your own perspective of the country at 65, where we were and where we are at the moment.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, just have said, so for the past few years, it has been, it's not yet Uhuru, right? So there have been some economic gains since independence, right? Nigeria is the African largest economy with almost $470 billion, according to World Bank in 2024. And Lagos constitutes a large chunk as being the economic state, right? But the transformation needs to reflect not only in terms of being the largest economic powerhouse in Africa. It needs to reflect in how the economic gains. So most especially beyond diversification of beyond oil, you know, deepening reforms in agriculture, manufacturing, minerals and tech. You know, we also need to look at strengthening fiscal federation. You know, states must have ability to generate their revenues and also expand their revenue base. You know, rather than having to have strong reliance on the federal government. Another key thing is there is to also look at the infrastructure. You know, our economy, our population is increasing, but from what we have post independence, right? And then, so these which are not require more investments in energy and logistics to be able to, match the growth, especially in terms of population and industrial growth. You know, we also need to look at beyond what have happened in the last 50 years, 64 years, that we also need to look how do we also promote human capital and innovation. Now we have a large chunk of our population being youth, under 30. So we need to look at education and digital skills on how to deepen these among key state areas, right? And then, and I've seen what the current government is doing in terms of to see how to support SMEs through access to credit and market reforms. The government needs to do more. The government of the day needs to do more and need to ensure that the reforms are resounding and deepened.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and we would like to pose the same question to Mr. Olisa. We want to understand your perspective of governance over the years. You think Nigeria has been able to live up to that expectation of a 65-year independence anniversary when it comes to governance?
Yes, thank you. There's no doubt that as a nation, for 65 years, we've come a long way. And we thank God that in spite of all the challenges that the nation has experienced, passed through, we were where we are today. We overcame all of that. You remember the Civil War of 1967 to 1970, we overcame that and all the other challenges, the ethnic issues and all that. The fact that today we are one united country is a gain. Again, all those things that happened didn't divide us, even when some person perhaps would have wished that. We will remain one indivisible country. It's a big gain, and that has helped us in forging ourselves together to win our things. Yes, we cannot point at so many things that we've have now because there are things we really wish we should have. Our 4 years, even those in government now, a lot of them went to school with scholarship, federal government scholarship, even at state levels. Those things are not there anymore. And you find that in economy, we have grown, no doubt, but we're not there yet. The indices show that more would have been done even at this age of 65. We won't blame anybody, we'll blame ourselves for not doing much, maybe not looking inwards properly. But we do hope that what we have now, with our GDP growing, Nigeria being the biggest economy in Africa, and all of that, those are things, indices of hope for us in this country that we will grow. But as I feel, so much needs still to be done in this country, and it's for us first, like my friend just alluded to, the strength of the country is in the youth. It's in the youth, and the percentage of our population, which is about 232 million as of today, going by what we have as the figures, the chunk of it is the youth, and attention needs to be given to that bracket. Deliberate attention, intentional of government to give attention to the youth. because that is where we have our strength. We need to be, by and large, the country has hope, given the kind of leadership we now have. We will get there. I know that the true federalism that we all clamor for, some persons think that what we have now is okay. For us, no, it's not okay. Because true federalism will help grow the country more. Where states, you remember we grew from the regions to the states and today we have 36 states in the Federal Capital Territory. If the states are allowed to grow at their own pace, exploit whatever resources they have, I am sure the country at 65 would have been better.
Miss
But it's
Olisa,
not-
Miss Olisa, you've made some very vital points, and of course, we will still come back to you because you're already going sectorial, and would like to explore that avenue. Could you just hold that thought, and let's head straight and bring Barrister Liu from Edo State. We'll come back to you, Ms. Olisa. Barrister Liu, I'd like to ask you. Oftentimes we hear the labor of our heroes past shall not be or shall never be in vain. At 65, are we consolidating on the gains of, the labors of our forebears? Barrister Liu.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Our forefathers who fought for the independence had a clairvoyance. They had a futuristic optimism. That is why they coined that words in the national anthem, that the labors of our hero past should not be in vain. Truly, it is not in vain. Par rapport the present situation, it is only that we have succeeded in keeping the country one. Vietnam broke to North and South Vietnam. Korea broke to North and South Korea. India broke after independence to Pakistan. Pakistan again was broken into Bangladesh. But here we are still one country after the Civil War. So, but for the welfare and the security of our Constitution, Section 14, Sub 2, is not yet Uhuru. Social welfare, fundamental principles enshrined in 1999 Constitution, Chapter 42, they have not been realized. So this is a clarion call after 65 years, not to relent in our effort so that we can be in the same pedestal with our founding fathers who fought for independence and have a country we can be proud of. That people will not be jackpot every time you hear jackpot. Nigerians, we should be proud to wave our flag everywhere. You see more challenges, and those in leadership will always remember that they are there not for themselves but for others. We say in law, non-CB, said Alice, not for yourself but for others. You have to serve yourself, your country, and not yourself, so that it will be remembered. And when the time of counting blessings comes, we shall name them one by one.
Okay.
Challenge to our leader vis-a-vis the followers. They cannot be leaders without followers. We should be more patriotic and think of what the country can do for us, and instead of every time, not what we can do. I mean, it should be what we can do for the country.
Yes.
Not what the country can do for it. Was Kennedy, an American president, had equally said that. So challenge to us that there are still more hurdles to cross.
Okay, I'd like to borrow a phrase from the Nigerian anthem, Nigeria we hail thee, and I'm coming to you, Mr. Moses. Nigeria we hail thee, and so many times the question of hailing Nigeria, when it comes to the industrial journey of the country at 65, can we really hail Nigeria at 65 in terms of industrial development?
Yeah, thank you. So, in the last few years, we know that Nigeria transformed from an agrarian economy to one of the African largest oil producers, and that makes Nigeria the African largest economy by GDP. And with access to capital, we realized that one of the top three, one of the top 10 African startups in Africa, Nigeria seems to be three of Nigerian startups are able to reach the hallmark of getting access to capital. So we can really say these key areas have drive the economic growth, and we have seen growth of indigenous business from Dangote Group to UNC to Flutterwave. So multiple banks who also have branches beyond Nigerian shores. So we have shown capacity. We have shown capacity in building local enterprises. We have also shown capacity to be creative and to be innovative. So in the long years of military rule, Nigerians have had more than 24 years of uninterrupted democracy, and also form a bedrock for our economy. So we can say, well, we've done well, right? And we are also seeing growth also in other sectors, especially entertainment and technology. So from Nationhood, which is also the second largest film industry in the world, we have seen the growth of Afrobeats across not only in Africa, but space Nigeria, also in the global cultural map. So, and I think this also fundamentally contributes to the strength of the growth. Now, it's how to see how the government can actually sustain it, how the government can actually create an enable environment, from food security, from the issue of banditry and all that, where we can have our own what I call tech ecosystem, or what we call the Silicon Lagoon, to be able to attract billions in venture capital and investments. I think those are the key things that I think we started looking not only on the short term, but also on the long term.
All right. Mr. Moses, we'll come back to you. Let's welcome joining us now, Barrister Eriri. Barrister Eriri, good morning to you. Happy Independence. Great to have you join the show this morning, Barrister Eriri.
Good morning, my brother, and good morning, Nigerians.
Now that you're on, let me just shoot straight to you, and then from you, we'll go to Mr. Olisa. Barrister Eriri, let's talk about Nigeria's 65-year journey. I want us to talk the law. Let us look at our legal journey thus far. Can you say, in our 65-year journey, we have really been practicing democracy from the legal perspective?
Well, thank you very much for that question. If actually Nigeria as a country have been practicing democracy for the past 65 years, I would say that we are far from democracy. We are far from democracy in the sense that it's expected that 65 years of Nigeria existence, we ought not to be where we are today. But very unfortunate that we are still backward. In fact, some persons are commenting that we are supposed to remain under the colonial rule by the British government, because the constitution that has been given to us that we are operating, even though it's a military document, as advocated by some persons, that we have to be a brand new constitution. Now, why do I say that we are not practicing democracy? If you look at chapter 2 of the 1999 constitution, which embodies or suggests the social contract that exists between Nigerians and the government, the governed and the government, you can see that they have failed in totality from section 13 to 24 of that chapter that provides that the state policy and directive principles of state government, which every Nigerian ought to benefit. Now, since the section of democracy, since 1999, we have been battling with one, insecurity. Now, section 14 sub 2, paragraph B of the 1999 constitution provides that the security and welfare of its citizens shall be the primary purpose of government. Now, we can see that right from 1999 till date, we are still battling with the issue of insurgency, particularly in the Northeast. We were thinking that it was only peculiar to the Northeast, but as we are talking, every part of Nigeria is not secured. And now we have a government in place that have refused to take this as a priority among other issues related to governance. to see that citizens are secured. Because are you going to govern dead citizens? The question is no. It is those who are alive that we are going to govern. So if every day we hear killings about killings by particular person they call hoodlums or Boko Haram, whatever acronym they call them, they even went further to even post most of their kidnappings, taking of ransoms and all that. And we have military men, personnel who have even fought Economic war. They cannot dictate any of all these militant groups, to hold them accountable and also make them to face prosecution. Now, citizens no longer go to their farms, but only farmers. In terms of agriculture, we can see that there's a very short supply in sense of food. Now, section 16 of that same section in chapter 2 said the government will provide food security. Now, the human beings are not secured. How can they eat well? Now, farmers refuse to go to farm because when they get to the farm, herdsmen will kill them. Now, everybody that has lands for farming, they are scared of going to the farms, simply because government of the day, either the local government, the state government, or the Federal Republic of Nigeria have refused to put security measures in place. And this is a country where every year funds, billions of naira are expended for security. Now the question is that what are those funds meant for? Is it that they are not buying the weapons, or somebody is keeping them somewhere and the lives of Nigerians are put into jeopardy? Now we talk about electricity. Since the inception of democracy in 1999, we have been talking about the power sector, increasing the megawatts to see that every part of Nigeria has power supply. But today, what is happening? You hardly get some community where there's 24 hours supply. But 24 hours is not even realistic. Even 7 days, 7 hours in a day is a problem. Now, we talk about employment. Employment is a no-go area. We can see that they will tell you that they are advertising for jobs and all that. There's nothing that is going to happen.
Barisariri, forgive me to intrude, Barisariri. I mean, seriously, listen to you rail out these facts, which I'm not about to dispute, would imply that we have not recorded any gain, Barisariri.
We are not.
Do you get me?
No.
I said, listening to you reel out all that you have said, which I'm not about to dispute, it would imply that we have not made any gain.
We have not been.
We have not made any gain from your analysis. That's the implication.
We are far from gain. We are far from gain. We are far from gain. In fact, if you talk about gain, we are not near gain at all. Because if you look at what's happening, every year we have this culture of celebrating independence. And when you know that independence celebration is on, you see every Nigerian coming out with their green and white attire. But if you look at previous years, there have been no Nigerian coming out with that attire to say that we are celebrating independence. What does that go to tell you? That Nigeria as a nation, we have failed. Because the citizens...
I may not agree totally, Barisariri, that people don't come out in green, white, green to celebrate the independence. But we'll come back to you, Barisariri. Just hold that thought there. Hold that thought.
I'd like to even mention, I'm already putting on a green dress, but I'll go to Mr. Olisa. And one major thing which has been mentioned across boards and has been the issue of unemployment. Talking about the past, people didn't have to search for jobs. Once you're done with school, the labor unions or the labor sectors will bring you into different industries, different businesses. But the case is not the same. Don't you think we should, shouldn't we attribute this to the increasing population and not just about the people?
Not just about government.
Not just about government, I beg your pardon.
Yes, you are very correct there, my sister. Very, very correct. Because those of us who are reflecting and remembering how it was, I said earlier that there was a time in this country where those that were educated got so on scholarships because the number was few and the government was in a hurry to educate its citizens. It is not so today. Population, I said earlier, as of today, the records we have, we're about 232 million Nigerians, meaning that the population has really, really grown. And the same way, the universities are all over the place. then we have not many of them. But now we have federal universities, state universities, even private universities, churning out graduates by the day. And the space for employment is not much. So when we talk about unemployment, we don't blame government per se. It is the population, the people that come out every year from schools in all the levels, all the levels. So we will be there. All we need to do is to encourage ourselves, particularly government, to open avenues, open the spaces for employment. Everybody must not be employed in public service. And the government, I know, has been trying, local government, state government, and federal government, to encourage the young people to look inwards, go into self-employment. They've been encouraged in states like where I come from, and in Delta, that's my state. In Delta, we have this culture of developing our youth, training them, giving them training. Those who already train themselves, encourage them with grants and tools to grow on their own. That's the way to go. We must not expect that employment must be when government has employed you and pays you. No, we have to encourage our youths, because I know government is doing it. Nearly all the governments in the country doing all of that to encourage our youth, because that's where our strength is. And the only thing we can say is that more can be done. We can do more in that aspect of encouraging the youth, because mind you, there are some youths who are just not interested in doing anything. They don't want to be rich. But I'm happy to note that the same youths are doing us proud. Youths have taken us to the global stage in entertainment, the Nollywood, and all of that. Those are youths too. So I call on those youths that are being recalcitrant in being trained to look at those that are doing it. They're not looking at government, those that have taken us to the global stage. They didn't look at government. And as soon as government saw that these youths are on their own doing well, government has continued to encourage them. So unemployment is not necessarily because there's ineptitude in governance. No, it is because of our population explosion. People have grown, so many people coming out from the schools and they're on the streets.
Okay. All right, Ms. Olisa, just hold on for a bit there. Let me go to Edo State, and Barrister Liu, I want to come to you this time. And why I keep coming to you from the historical perspective is because you're the most elderly of all our guests this morning. Barrister Liu, I'd like to ask you, if there's one thing that has been consistently preached over the years, it's been the issue of unity, peace, cohesion, inclusivity. 65 years down the line as a nation, have we kept to that particular push for us to be peaceful, for us to be, inclusive? Have we really kept that? Are we deliberately pursuing that peace 65 years as a nation? Barrister Liu.
Yes, I will say that we don't have a pass mark yet, but we are on the way. We have been shown the light, and it is for us to find the way now. There are still challenges. The then almighty Roman Empire was not built in one day. So I'm an optimist that there is still room for improvements vis-a-vis the Constitution, outlining the fundamental human rights in Chapter 4, outlining the Section 14, Sub 2 of the Constitution for Security and Welfare, that we still have much to do, because once the people are free, they have food to eat, they are proud as patriots, they are secured. Nigeria will become an utopia. But meanwhile, not here in utopia. We have not reached El Dorado. It's a challenge once more to our leaders and followers that must need to be to count our blessings them one by
Okay.
one.
All right, Barrister Liu, thank you for that one. Let me quickly bring Mr. Moses in. Mr. Moses, I'm not trying to call you a young man, but the way you appear, you look youthful to me. And the question I'd like to ask you is, in this 65-year journey, every single time we talk about the leaders, people are quick to blame the leaders. You think it's more about the leaders? You think the followers have also contributed to the country's woes, if we agree that in 65 years we have suffered, some woes?
Well, thank you. And also, another young man. All right, so we cannot underplay that the older population have not given the younger people enough space, especially in terms of governance, right? Where they have opportunity to make more influence is where, that I would call it, where it's an open field, where there's a freehold, where there can't be limitation, and that's where you see more youth in leadership, in the area of tech. You see in creativity, entertainment, and you see it reflects in our exports outside the shores of Nigeria, right? And I just feel that that's a critical thing, because I see this as having the youngest populations, so to say, in the world, right? I mean, top three. The average age of our population is about 18 years, and yet we have one of the highest youth unemployment rates. See, I see this as both as a risk and as an opportunity. Beyond fueling jeopardizing migration and security and brain, it's an opportunity for us to have a new layers of leadership, right, across board, especially in true skill, digital entrepreneurship, and also governance and our industrial policy, most especially fiscal policy, right? So employment is not just a social issue, for instance, it's a fiscal one, with 130 million Nigerians in multi-dimensional poverty, and government revenue is still far cry. So we need to see how can we integrate the youth, how can we integrate the younger population, not only in governance, right, and see how we can even stimulate growth. We need to see how there has to be a level of exposure of where there's a state of awareness, and they have the state of inclusion in what is happening around them. So I think those things are very key, right? So rather than sitting depending on subsidy, palliatives, and social transfers, which can be done at the long run. So these are the key things I feel we can say how we can integrate youth into leadership.
Okay, now I'd like to pose the next question to Barrister Eriri, and we're looking at Nigeria's journey. We're also looking at oil. Nigeria is funded majorly from oil produce, and we know the resources, and one aspect which has raised concerns has been on the aspect of resource management. Over the years, if we look at a man at 65, we'll be talking about possibly retirement already, if not on the pipeline at 65. Have we been able to, over these years, manage our resources effectively, whether it's in oil or mineral resources or financial resources? Have we been able to manage that effectively?
Well, I think when you're talking about resources, both human, mineral, oil, I think for the past 65 years, there is no proof, no evidence to show that we're actually resourceful. In fact, apart from human resources, I think the oil resource and the mineral resources, if you look, the question you ask yourself, or we Nigerians should ask ourselves, where are our mines and solid minerals? Our refineries, are they working? It's ridiculous to say that a single individual can establish a refinery and is productive. But the 4 refineries the governments are managing, years to come, they will tell you they are doing turnaround maintenance. What are they maintaining? We can't even talk about building more refineries. Now, people propose having modular refineries. Where are those refineries? So you can see that most of our resources are gradually fading off. Some are not even in existence. Like when we are growing up, we talk about solid minerals. So many mineral resources we have in this country, but a lot of them are no longer harnessed to meet up the yearnings of Nigerians. Now we look at the oil sector. The oil sector that have been concentrated. Now a single individual has opened a refinery, and you see different groups coming out to also towards that effort. But the question we ask ourselves that the major ones that are handled by government, is it that the individual is more superior than the government, or the government have decided to shield away from responsibilities and focus their attention on other things? So if you talk about issue of oil, apart from the human capital, human resource, which we Nigerians, we are used to adapt to any situation, and most of the product, the talents we have all over the world, we can see that in entertainment, in other industries, they've decided to take themselves, giving themselves a challenge to see that they can project the image of Nigeria. It is not the responsibility of government, or the government is responsible for their harnessing of those human resources. Those are individual decisions that they've taken and projected Nigeria in the global world. And today, the name of Nigeria is all over the place. But when it comes to oil and other resources that Nigerians were known for, it's a total failure. The government have decided to neglect most of those areas, those sectors, and it's a very, very bad thing to know that.
Barisariri, I find myself yet again interjecting you. Is it all doom and gloom in 65? Is there nothing to cheer, Barisariri?
Well, like the question your colleague.
See, I'd asked the question about resource management, how effective we've been able to manage our resources in 65 years. I mean, the picture you're painting is all doom and gloom. That's why I asked you, is it all doom and gloom in 65?
65 years going, like I said earlier on, apart from the humans that have decided to engage ourselves, the government have failed in terms of oil and other resources that Nigerians are known for. Like if you go to other parts of the country, there are so many resources or ministries, like solid minerals. There's nothing to write home about that ministry. That is the basic truth. If you talk about the oil and gas sector, nothing to write home about it, because your refineries are not working.
So for you, Barisariri, yet again, I'll ask you, for you, because of the way things are, is there nothing to cheer at 65? Barisariri, I'm putting this question to you categorically. Is there nothing to cheer?
In fact, there's nothing to cheer at 65. The only thing to cheer is that we are still alive. I want to thank God that we are still alive to witness 65 years going. Thank God my senior colleague is here from Edo State, and I want to thank you very much that at this level, you should have be confident to say that 65 years going, the future generation should be able to enjoy more than what he has enjoyed. But I think, with all the respect, he will tell you convincingly that it's nothing to celebrate. How much more we that are more younger than him? Because we expected that 65 years ago, since we attained independence, we should have gone beyond where we are. But
okay.
That is not the secret.
Okay.
If we are, most Nigerians wouldn't be running away from the country to other countries.
Barisariri, just hold that thought as we gradually draw to a close. I'll come back to you for your parting shot. Let's come to Barrister Aliyu. Barrister Aliyu, obviously you're the most elderly here. I would ask that what are your expectations for Nigeria going forward? Perhaps you might want to add a prayer or two.
Well, as I said, I'm an optimist. Comparatively, it has not been utopian, but I'm still hopeful that there are rooms for improvements. Obviously, I'm much more than 65, and I will have left primary school by the time we go to enter college. And I know that with age, we were given flags, We sang the national anthem, which we have memorized as almost till age. And here we are today. The expectations are not yet fulfilled, but we can also count our blessings in that there are other minerals, not necessarily oil. We have other products which we are known for. We have products, cocoa, rubber, other things, and international trade, international relations. We are members of Economic Community of West African States, African Unity, United Nations, and Nigeria is coming up politically and in the nation's policy. So it is a challenge that we should beef up. I will not score ourselves zero, even though the dreams of our founding fathers, Sadala, Sokoto, Awolowo, Zik, Tapa, Balewa, Okotie, Eboye, who fought, you can look at it, they did not amass wealth, they fought for freedom, and we can remember their name. So that is why we will call it challenge those in leadership to remember that the good which they stood for, which they achieved, will be used to remember their achievement when they are gone. So in all, it may not yet be whole, but there's room for improvement. We have not scored zero because we have gained independence. We are calling lights, lux in tenebris, lights in the darkness to some other nation states. They look forward to Nigeria. Our population is increasing well over 200 million. So let us hope that by next year, succeeding years, we will be in a better position to count our blessings, and the aims of our heroes past will not be in vain. It shall not be in vain.
Okay.
Thank you, Barrister Aliyu. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We will, of course, in coming subsequent programs, will also, where necessary, seek your wisdom and contributions as well. Thank you again. Gentlemen, please hold on. Let's take some reactions from social media.
There's been some social media reactions with regards to Nigeria celebrating 65th independence journey, and so many have been trooping in from different persons. This is from Idan. Says here, at 65, Nigeria bears the scars of endless struggle, yet still clings to hope. But hope does not feed the hungry or heal the broken. True independence will only arrive when justice is real, unity is lived, and leadership serves every Nigerian heart. For now, the nation's wealth enriches a chosen few, while those who toil are left to buy more chains and applaud their own. Well, that's for Idan. And Ola Oluwaba. Independence should mean freedom, but for too many. Okay, it still feels like a cycle. Nigeria turned 65 today, and with it comes celebration, reflection, and hope. Hope that we are not just two distant strangers sharing a flag, but one people bound by dreams, struggle, and grit. All right. And Ben Zach says Nigeria isn't 65. She is 111 years old. She is only 65 years free from colonial slavery. Oh, Ben Zach. Yeah. Okay, and Icon says here, my birthplace, my home, my country. Today, Nigeria turned 65. Through it all, our people keep preserving and finding joy even in the toughest times. God didn't rush when he made us. He gave us resilience and spirit. In my next life, would still choose to be Nigerian.
Same here.
Oh, that is
Same here.
really wonderful.
Gentlemen, let's bring this conversation to a close. Let us come to you, Ms. Alisa, at this juncture. Moving forward, what are your expectations as we count from 65 onward?
Yeah, thank you, my brother. We cannot write Nigeria off at all. I can see that I am talking to you from Asaba. Moses is in Lagos.
By Saliu is in Edo State.
Edo State, this is technology that brought us here. Technology. So we are growing. I can, maybe after this program, I'll take my telephone and I will speak with you. It is technology. Part of the things we've embraced. It brought us here. So talking about the management of our resources, we're not wasteful in this country. Yes, we are not where we're supposed to be, but we've achieved some things. We've gotten some mileage in our growth. At 65, maybe by some person's estimation, we are not where we're supposed to be at 65, but we will get there. We are moving. I must concede that the government is not supposed to do everything. The private sector, all government needed to do was encourage private investment so much. I tell you, I was out of the country sometime, and the business community in Turkey, they were talking about where investment was going from the country. They said they would take their briefcases with their capital inside and move to Tanzania. And I was surprised. I said, why Tanzania? They say in Tanzania, all you needed to do was to go there with your capital. You find infrastructure, as in electricity, water, road, security provided. And they will now move in there just with their capital and do business. And in doing business, they have tax holidays. That is what I think we should do in this country at this stage. Okay. Not only thinking that government will do investment. Government doesn't really have any business in business. What government does is to provide the enablement, make the environment good for investment, and investors will come.
Mr. Olisa, Mr. Olisa, because of time, I must thank you so much, Mr. Olisa. Ife Ajinaka, is it Ife Ajika? Okay, Ife Ajika. Thank you so much, Mr. Olisa. We will, of course, in the coming days and subsequent programs, be connected with you to get more insights and profit from your contribution. Thank you again, all the way from Asaba in Delta State. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And then we'll come to you, Mr. Moses. Yeah. Mr. Moses, your part in short. What are your expectations for Nigeria going forward? Mr. Moses.
All right, thank you. My expectation is simple. A Nigeria that works in real terms, right? So stable power, stable policy, steady naira, and a system where hard work pays. The day a small business can grow without knowing anyone or someone in government, I will know that independence has finally reached the economy. So for me, I would say those are my simple times, those are my simple expectations. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
And then we'll come to Barrister Eriri. Yes. Your expectation.
Yes, my expectation, like I rarely say, is for government to be sincere. Sincerity of purpose. You know, they are elected there for a purpose. So they should be seen to be actualizing that purpose. And what is the purpose? Primarily security. My brother Lisa was talking about investors coming into the country and showing other countries. When a country like Nigeria is not secured for investment, no right-thinking person will carry his capital to come here and invest. No, follow that you are not secured, neither your businesses. So the government should place more emphasis and priority on security, so that when citizens are secured all over the world, nobody will be afraid of coming to Nigeria to invest, because we have the fertile soil. We have most of the infrastructure. We should build more and see that when investors come, they will find it difficult to go back to their various countries. Then food security. There should be abundance of food. Let the farmers go to the farm without anybody launching an attack on them, whether herdsmen, whatever name they call them. The security should be beefed up. The personnel should be well taken care of. Their welfare packages should be well intact, so that they have no reasons to renege from going to the war front or to apprehend criminals and bandits. Then at the end of the day, they should make sure that there's steady power supply. Because when God created the world, he said, let there be light. And there was light. So why is Nigeria having light problem? Are we not part of the kingdom heritage? So we should be able to see that there is light. And when there is light, the evil men cannot operate. So
thank you.
Because of time, we should be able to, the leaders should be able to do things, because they travel out of this country, they see what is obtainable outside the country. So why they come back? Why do they relax and relent?
Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a very fruitful conversation. Thank you, Barrister Aliyu, for your time, and we really did profit from your optimism, which you never you never hesitated to express. Thank you again, Barrister Aliyu. Thank you, everyone, for joining the conversation again.
Thank you.
We will talk again soon on national issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.